YouTube. Got one of my cobs. My new corn cobs. I believe it's the Mark Twain bent. And packed it with this. Russell's Monthly Blend, chocolate covered espresso bean. Beautiful tobacco. Wonderful aroma. Try this out in here. Don't know if you like that or not, but I just love making these jars. Don't mind me. It's just my thing, you know. It's like people, candle makers, you know. People like I used to make candles years ago. But I kind of quit that. Kind of dropped that hobby. I'd like to talk about something now that while I'm doing my char light, get this started. I'd like to discuss hobbies a little bit here. You know, what kind of hobbies that we get into in our lives from childhood up, the different things that we get involved with doing, and how seriously we take each hobby and how meticulous we actually get about each hobby. I'd also like to do just kind of I want to do a VR response to Defiant Pipes. I really enjoy your video on not hoarding tobacco. I happen to I watched a few of your videos, and I've been suffering from OCD all my life, and this is going to correlate into the hobby issue. I know what it's like to go through it. I've been through it. I'm still going through it. The OCD issue. Been going through the weight issue. I lost 30 some pounds since February, and I'll tell you how I did that in a few minutes. May help you out. I don't know, but you know, I'd be glad to share that with you in the event that it will help you. I want to get to the hobbies first. How seriously we take hobbies. Over the years, I've become very meticulous with hobbies. Of course, when I was younger, I didn't have the finances and the funds that I have access to now to actually throw into the hobby. When I got older, I didn't see that until I got older. Whatever hobby that may be. But that being said, how far do you go with a hobby? Well, let me give you for instance. I've been collecting albums, record albums, since I was a kid. of about 8 years old. Belonged to the Columbia Record Club, but didn't have the big, extensive collection back then. Probably maybe 10, 15, 20 albums. However, as I got older, well, I started buying cassettes. And then when I was 20 years old, I bought some other albums in my late teens. But then when I reached 20 years old, I bought myself a Harman Kardon stereo system. Harman Kardon receiver, tape deck, turntable. I believe it was a Technics turntable. The speakers were Mirage speakers, which, by the way, I still own them. I've switched out the tweeters at least half a dozen times since then, probably 4 or 5 times, because the receiver I had was blowing them out when I'd crank it up. It had this frequency response going through the tweeters, and it would constantly blow out tweeters, especially when I was blasting stuff like Guns N' Roses, Mr. Brownstone, and that'll do it, you know. But so I began collecting music seriously, and when I was 20 in 1984, I started with albums, accumulated about 785 albums, then went on to CDs. Sold all my albums, which I know was a mistake, but I was out of work at the time and I was going through a bad time, and I had to sell those records to pay some bills for a couple months until I got back to work. That being said, I should forget the albums, and I just went on and just did the CD thing. So I started in 1988, and probably buying maybe 2 to 4 CDs a week at that time. It is now 2016, and I have 2,400 some CDs. Excuse me, 2,400. I don't know the exact number. It's on my iPhone, and it's probably an estimate. It's probably not exact. 2,410 CDs. That's a lot of CDs. And in 2004, I went back and I bought a really nice turntable. I believe it was the Technics SL 1210 Mark V. Okay, so after all these years still buying CDs, I got about 200 or 300 DVDs, music concerts, a bunch of videos from the VHS days. I also compulsively, I collected this stuff compulsively, the CDs throughout the years and the videos and everything, just compulsively, non-stop. Never stopped buying CDs. There was never a month that went by, I mean, there was barely ever a month that went by that I didn't buy at least 2 to 5 CDs, somewhere in that range. Unless, you know, it's a really bad month and something really bad was going on, they might not have. Albums, went back and decided I was going to start another album collection, but it was going to be limited. And it's mostly all the originals of those releases. And I focus mostly on the originals and of the early 70s and some later stuff, mostly early 70s type stuff. So, you know, how serious, I mean, I've had a lot of other hobbies, which Not even to mention my pipe smoking hobby, my pipe collecting. I have a die-cast car collection that's humongous. Literally thousands of packaged die-cast cars and totes. Sell them on eBay from time to time. Hobbies are fun. You know, I mean, I have a lot of them. Well, anywhere from 5 to 6 different things, like model railroading, collecting trains, which right now is in a dormant stage because I had to tear down my model railroad to move down here, so I haven't started building another one yet, but I will. But anyway, I want to get to the, okay, so before I get to the next subject, how do we approach a hobby without OCD in it, you know? I don't know. It seems like when I get into hobbies, I want to go the whole way. I want to do it the whole way, meticulously, inside and out. I want to get to know. It's like the pipe thing. I'm not a pipe expert at this point. I'm not a tobacco expert, but I'm learning, and this is like actually the fun part, watching all you guys, the videos you put up, everything. By the way, I want to give Red Elric a shout out. He's a great guy. I like to watch his videos. Defiant Pipes. The list just goes on and on. Derek Tant. There's just so many of them. I just can't list them all right now. But I wanted to get to a VR response about the weight issue. I was heavy since '96. Okay, in 1996, my wife passed away with cancer. She was only 30 years old. God rest her soul. It was a tragedy for me. It wasn't like I went on a path to self-destruction or anything, but I just used to eat a lot, you know, eat a lot. Eat out, eat a lot of junk food, often eat all kinds of stuff, candy, junk, whatever, you name it, I was eating it, you know, and sodas, Coca-Colas with sugar, desserts, until I knew eventually I was going to get diagnosed as a diabetic because I knew it was inherited in the family, and I knew it was coming. They told me my numbers were getting close, you know, I was kind of borderline. They wanted me to cut down on my desserts, but I didn't make a move yet. Okay, so last February 18th, that was my wake-up call. I was diagnosed as a diabetic. My A1C was, I believe it was 6.5, I think, or something like that, 6.8, I don't know. Immediately, I cut out all sugar sodas. I cut out all my desserts. And I just ate like I normally ate, which now that would be like if it's a sandwich at that particular meal, 2 breads with whatever was in the sandwich, but 2 breads. And maybe, you know, a little bit of chips, but not a lot of chips. I used to stay away from a lot of that when I started cutting all this stuff out. So, you know, I'd eat maybe some diet cookies, some sugar-free diet cookies. I make some coffee after my meal. I have a couple diet cookies, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. Sugar-free sweetener in my coffee. If I was going to drink soda, I drink sugar-free. Here's a good one that I would like to recommend to you. If you can do this, I don't know. If people can do this, it's great. A lot of people can't. I happen to like seltzer water. This stuff right here. I can drink this by the gallon. It has no sugar. It has no calories. Just plain water, carbonated water. A lot of people go, "Ooh, gross! How do you do that?" It's just something I like. It quenches my thirst. I like to drink it. So anyway, here's the deal. Once a month, okay, I treat myself to a big meal. A steak dinner, mashed potatoes, vegetables, maybe some brown shrimp, grilled shrimp on the Barbie or whatever. And maybe a half a glass of wine or a glass of wine because I am diabetic. I'm supposed to be staying away from alcohol, but it's not going to hurt once in a while. And those 2 days during that once a month treat, I'll go out and I'll buy myself a little cheesecake, an $8 cheesecake maybe or something, plus the dessert I have at the meal that night. And I'll have cheesecake and coffee for like 2 days, maybe 3 days, and that's it. That's it for the rest of the month. I don't eat any more sweets or any more sugar. I just eat the straight 3 meals a day, no more than 2 breads, and try to keep the carbohydrates down. And I've lost like 30. Excuse me, I've lost like probably 33, 34 pounds now. That's slow and gradual. That's since February 18th. What's that? March, April, May, June, August, September. That's 8 months. That's about 4 pounds a month, about a pound a week. But it's coming off, and it's starting to show. If you look at my old videos, you'll notice my face was, it was blown up, okay? And I blew up. I was really heavy for a while. And working out, walking, I walk 2 miles in one shot. I can walk further than that if I want. I can actually walk 4 miles, but I don't always do that. Does the pipe smoking help the diet? I don't need it. I really don't need it. When I'm snacking, I snack on fruit. Try to snack on fruit a lot. Nuts, unsalted nuts. Fruit. Then, like I said, you can drink coffee. Just don't put any sugar. Right here, I got iced coffee here. No sugar in it. It's just diet sweetener. It's called, I can't think of the name of it. It's in a blue package. It's not NutraSweet. It's something else. Natra something. I don't remember the name of it. But they buy it. I don't buy it. The folks I live with buy it. They get it at Walmart. It's in a little blue package, and it's like, it's what's in it. I can't think of it. Is it aspartame? I'm not even sure what it is. But anyway, whatever sweetener you want to use, diet sweetener. Oh, unsweetened tea. If I eat at McDonald's, if I eat fast food, I try to stay away from fast food. If I do eat fast food, it's about 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes I go a little overboard and eat like 4 or 5 times a week, but I try not to. If you eat fast food, if I eat fast food and I want something to pick me up, I'll get an unsweetened tea. No sugar, nothing, just plain. I've gotten used to drinking it that way since the early 90s. So I've been drinking it this way for 23, close to 25 years. And I just love drinking it that way. You get the real taste of the real tea. You don't have the sugar interfering with it. So it's a matter of making a permanent life change, lifestyle change. What I call a permanent lifestyle change. Not just a, go on a diet, lose a bunch of weight real quick, and then a lot of times people end up this is why they say diets don't work. They just go right back and they end up falling back into the same eating pattern that they had before, and they just gain all the weight right back, and it comes back a lot faster, probably 3 to 4 times, 5 times faster than, maybe even more than that, than what it takes to get the weight off. Trust me, it comes back really fast. But that's as far as the OCD. There are medications that are helpful for that, and there's behavior therapy that's helpful for that. I do a combination. Some of the medications can make you hungry. That's the issue. That they can make you hungry, but they're very helpful. Some people don't believe in that. They don't believe in taking medications for it. Sometimes you have to. There's no two ways, ifs, ands, buts about it. Sometimes you have to get it under control, but it's going to interfere. My OCD used to constantly interfere with my life. The little, things I used to do, rituals, checking doorknobs, doing this and that and the other, and pushing yourself away from all that and keeping yourself busy is very important. And first and foremost, something I didn't even mention. I'm so sorry I didn't even mention this. The power of God. I mean, and I'm just going to come right out and tell you, Jesus in my life, God, the Lord, He is the only one that gave me the strength to do what I've done, to lose this weight, to change my way of eating. I give it to Him. I give it over to Him, and I let Him. He gives me my strength, and I should have mentioned this right away, right up front, right first of all, because without God, I would be nowhere. Without Jesus, without the Lord, I would be nowhere. Okay. That's the end of it. That's my testimony for that. And if this helps, it's great. If it doesn't help, maybe it might help someone else out there. I'm just telling you what I did and what helped me. Anyway, I enjoyed your video, Max, on your not hoarding tobacco, not letting this enjoyment we have turn into a stressful, preoccupational obsession, but rather keeping it as an enjoyable pleasure. And there you have it. This is Spaceman from my front porch, smoking my Mark Twain bent with some Russ's Monthly Blend chocolate covered espresso bean. Signing out, and I shall see you in the next video. Until then, or as always, try to find something to enjoy yourself with, and have a good one.